And by that I mean, look, I think Phoenix is going to do everything they can to keep Chris Paul, which was unthinkable going into this season. No one thought he would opt out of that the last year of his deal, which is $44 million. But he's in position now to get a deal of about 3 years, $100 million, is what a lot of people around the league think. Here's where the finals could come into play. If the Knicks decide to try to go after Chris Paul and try to outbid the Phoenix Suns, Phoenix has the ultimate trump card in that they can offer Chris a 4th year and no one else can, including the Knicks. So they can give him 4 years at big money where the Knicks can only give him 3. If they win the finals, it's easier to justify giving a 36-year-old a 4-year deal. You're going to regret this deal at the end. You probably regret it for 2 years if you give him 4, but only 1 year if you give him 3. So, but if you win it, I can justify giving him a 4th year. If I lose the finals, it's harder for me to justify giving him a 4th year. I only want to give him 3 either way. But if I win the finals, at least I can say, you know what? We won a championship, first championship in our franchise history. Yeah, we'll regret it later, but I'll give him 4 years. I don't know that it'll come to that, okay, but that's where the result could play a role in his future.
Okay, I got to admit, and you're not supposed to admit this on television, especially when you're in my role, which is theoretically I'm supposed to, like, you know, have studied these things and know these things. I'm confused. And here's why I'm confused. So I'm going to go to my buddy Kevin Wildes because maybe he can help me on this. Oh, sure. What am I missing here that would make Chris Paul, let's say the Suns said to Chris Paul, you know what, here's what I offer. I offer you nothing, and I want you to pay for the casino license. The old Godfather 2. Let's say Robert Sarver says, got my title, got my conference title, whatever it is, and I'm going to go back to being, you know, my old reputation, Robert Sarver, which is not spending money. Let's say the Suns say, you can't come back. Why the hell would he pick the Knicks? Why are the Knicks all of a sudden like, oh, well, if he leaves Phoenix, he'll definitely, like, who wouldn't want to go team up with Julius Randle after that playoff performance? What am I missing? Why are the Knicks the team that it's like, oh, yeah, that's where he'd go? A guy who's been in the Western Conference his whole career, who just got his first real taste of winning, now wants to go to the Knicks? Why? Tell me. Yeah. What did I miss? Can they pay it? Are they the only team that can bid on him? Yeah, okay, no. Please.
Well, they are the best team. Well, they're the best. It's the best city in the world is reason number 1. And I think Chris Paul can have one part of it being a basketball player. The other part, he treats his career as sort of like a CEO who just comes in and drops in and fixes companies. Hey, I'll drop in Oklahoma City, fix you guys up. Drop into Houston, fix you. Drop into Phoenix, fix you. Come to New Orleans, start your franchise and fix you. I think that's a cool sort of legacy. And the best sort of fixer job out there is New York. Also, Leon Rose runs the Knicks and has been Chris Paul's agent at CAA for darn near 2 decades. So I think, like, the idea that they had internal conversations, like, yeah, it's like me having an internal conversation of, like, drinking coffee. I'm doing it all the time. Of course, it's pretty obvious. So, Brandon, I think it's the real sort of, like, New York. I know we've been talking about this for so long. It's like, it's the Mecca. But this one I actually buy, that because Chris Paul is kind of this... Right. Journeyman is sort of a bad word, but like that's why I like sort of like traveling CEO to fix companies. I think this is the most beautiful destination, not dissimilar to how like Theo Epstein like fixed the Red Sox and then went over and won a World Series with the Cubs. Like, wow, I did it. I solved Phoenix and New York. I'm a unique basketball player, and my resume is one of a kind. Wherever I go, winning follows.
Yeah, listen, as a player in any sport, you think about the markets. You know, this is the #1 market, media market, sports market in the world. So that's the first thing guys think about. And on the basketball side, that's the first thing and the only thing they think about when it comes to the Knicks. I'm with Nick here. I don't know why he would go there. I don't see him leaving Phoenix because it is a legacy play. And to talk about money, it's not about the money. First, he has the money. He's on all these State Farm commercials, and he does so much outside of just being an ambassador for brands and also balling. This dude is a phenomenal businessman. He's a phenomenal investor. He does some great things. You know, the big investment he just made in Players TV. So you can go on and on and on when it comes to money. But if we're going to talk about money from, you know, the ownership standpoint, from the team standpoint, why wouldn't you make this investment? Why wouldn't you give the guy $35–40 million? Like, the hardest thing to find, you have, and that's a leader. You saw it down in Tampa. Oh, Tom Brady, 42 years of age. Look what he did. He won another Super Bowl. He's not half the guy he used to be in his prime. But because of his experience, because of his leadership, it was worth it. And you saw it play out quickly in football, where Tom Brady goes there and he immediately wins a Super Bowl. So you have CP3. Yeah, he'll be 39–40 years of age, but he is the guy that was able to get to Ayton, not any other coach. He was the guy that was able to help elevate D-Book. So you pay the guy just for that. You pay the guy, even if he's, you know, he would never come off the bench, right? Like, he will retire a starter. But you pay that guy when his minutes begin to dwindle, Chris.
Well, I could see him coming off the bench later in his career. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But I'm with you. I thought you were going in a different direction. So I was like, I'm going to come on here and say something I think I've only said once in my hundreds of appearances on the show, and that's, I'm with Nick. Like, I agree. I've been a part of the Knicks media, or the New York City media, and Nick hit it on the head. While you're skewed, you're biased because you're from New York, and New York thinks every free agent is dying to play in Madison Square Garden. And yeah, they're dying to play there once or twice a year, but not for 41 days.
Not as their home court.
He already chose Phoenix over New York. Yeah. He said he wanted to go to Phoenix this year because his family's in Los Angeles. Now, maybe he'll move them to Phoenix, but he's still got other family that's in L.A., so he's close to them. And what did he say on national TV after they won the Western Conference Championship? I came here because of that light-skinned dude over there, Devin Booker. Yep. That light-skinned dude ain't going to New York. He's staying in Phoenix.
It's like me with FS1.
I think Chris does.
I came here because of that light-skinned dude right there that's talking right now, Chris Broussard. They said he's going to be there. You're going to be able to talk hoops with him. I said, I'm coming. But Broussard, like, here's the thing, man. I think we all believe, even if the Suns lose in the finals, it would be crazy for Robert Sarver not to bring back Chris Paul. You've got, and Wilds brought this up the other day, and I thought it was a really smart point. You have an argument that you're one of only 2 teams in the league with a big 3. Brooklyn obviously has theirs, if they're healthy, and because of the emergence of Ayton and the sustainability of Chris Paul, you have your own with Chris Paul, Booker, and Ayton. And by the way, that big 3 can age properly. And by that, I mean, right now, I know, Booker's going to score the most points, but Chris Paul's the best player on the team. But as early as next year, Booker could be the best player on the team, and Chris Paul could be the second best player. And in a couple years, Chris Paul could be the 3rd best player on the team as Ayton, surpasses him. But so we all think he probably should stay. The point I'm making is, if he were to leave, I'll give you, there's a half dozen teams that make more sense for him than the Knicks. Go to Miami. Miami needs a point guard. They're better than the Knicks. They have a better history than the Knicks. They have a better coach than the Knicks. They have a better GM than the Knicks. By the way, it's also no state taxes, like where he is right now, if you care about those things. Like, this is Knicks fans. I love you. But you are Charlie Brown, and every free agent is Lucy with the football, and you keep trying to go kick it. It's just like you build it the way you're trying to build it, which is you got lucky on Julius Randle, low buy, high upside. It worked out. Draft guys like quickly, and do it that way. And then maybe you'll get the free agent. But Wilds, I'm not saying Leon Rose. I think Leon Rose is a smart guy and is going to do a good job. But they're even hiring their GMs with this idea of, well, now how can you say no to us? We're the Mecca, and did you know our guy used to run an agency? A third of the league has a guy in the front office that used to run an agency. Like, I just can't believe that this is still a thing we're doing every time. Every time it's, will it go to the Knicks? No, they don't go to the Knicks. Nobody goes to the Knicks.
Okay. All right, what about Zion to the Knicks? No.
See, there it is. Zion. That's it.
They're saying another CAA guy.
Oh, that's out there. That's out there.
I know, it's there.
Yes.
Here's the most interesting thing, Jenna. I think that we're sort of viewing Chris Paul coming to the end of his career. And what is he trying to prioritize? Is he prioritizing winning? Is he prioritizing money? Is he prioritizing like lifestyle? His family's in LA. So we're trying to figure it all out. The other way to look at it is this the first chapter of the second book of Chris Paul's career? So is he like sort of setting himself up? Would he want to come to New York to just prepare for the next chapter of his career? We know that he's president of the Players Association. We know that he has a number of business interests. We know that he was like hand in hand with Iger, sort of like trying to almost like a mentorship slash partnership slash like protege type thing. So I think Chris Paul is set up for some really big things that New York City can either prepare him for or offer to him as he looks for the next chapter of his career, which I think we don't know what it's going to be, but I think it's going to be big. Bill Bradley-esque, oddly, who also played for the Knicks. So there you go.
Yeah, Jenna, unless the next chapter is he wants to be an understudy in Hamilton when it comes back, everything else he can do from any city in the country. The idea that he has to be in New York City to do business, unless he's focused on soft pretzels and Broadway,
taught us that, right?
he can do it anywhere, buddy.
It's true.
Wild so
It's
Download
true. We're
Trulia
doing a
in the
whole
break.
show and we're
You
not
gotta
in
go.
New York.
You're out.
What?
That was a good